Throughout my life, and especially when I was younger, I dealt with a lot of social anxiety. So I was very nervous in social situations and a very introverted person. Um, about 10 years ago, I started training myself on this, doing cold approach, meeting strangers in public, approaching strangers, approaching women. And then recently I got into sales. And I want to share some techniques in this video of what I do to reduce my social anxiety, to be able to feel much calmer in social situations, more confident. But I want to focus more on anxiety because I'm going to go into more details. But basically, watch this video if you sometimes deal with social anxiety and you want to learn to calm yourself a little bit. So one of the things that helps a lot, helps the most, is training really hard. You know, if you're like someone who's really motivated to work on that, you know, you can get a job in sales. You can do even things like what I'm doing, or you could do cold approaches. And of course, that's starting off with like a little bit of like the high intensity stuff. That's not necessary, but if you're someone who really wants to, you know, improve yourself, that's one thing that you can do, and that's going to help you see the most results. But if you just want to learn to calm yourself a little bit in situations, what really helps me a lot is like meditation. That's something I use throughout everything, because even in sales, you know, I notice I've been doing it for 2 years now, and I often catch myself that I'm like a little bit speaking too fast, or that I'm like not feeling perfectly calm or confident. And slowing down and paying awareness to my breath and my sensations in my body makes me feel a lot more confident and calm. Now, this is great, especially if you want to reduce your anxiety. One problem that I found is that if you want to actually improve the quality of your social interactions in general, there is more to it than just reducing anxiety, right? Because me, for example, I'm walking here, and right now I am reasonably calm, but that doesn't mean I'm perfect. I have a lot of weaknesses, like everyone has weaknesses, and I have my own weaknesses. And for me, something I often deal with is like I feel very awkward. So that's like a different issue. But if it just comes down to like reducing social anxiety, then learn how to meditate just in general. You know, you can sit on a chair and watch your breath, or you can even sit like in a lotus pose, but that's how you can start learning. But then start applying it into situations, social situations, like even with your family, even when you are cold approaching, or when you are in sales. I think a lot of salespeople do this, whether they are aware of it or not, right? Because in sales, you really need to monitor your internal state. And when you're feeling too anxious or too angry or too upset, often your sales calls won't work. So, you know, in social situations and in sales, managing your own emotions and your own states is like super important, and that's what's going to create a lot of your results. Because when people come to you, right, when people socialize with you, or someone is coming being annoying, maybe like a confrontation or things like that, most of it, you know, there's a lot of strategies that come to play in like negotiation and things like that. But really, you can solve most of the problems in social interactions with just managing your own internal state better. Right? This means, let's say someone comes for a confrontation, right? And you are able to manage your state better. So you're able to stay calm, you're able to stay unaffected. Then, the other person might become angry, but you can stay calm and like analyze what's actually going on. You can make better decisions. And especially when other people feel that you are not afraid of them, that you're at ease, then this, especially like things like confrontations, is just going to dissolve. And also in general social interactions, if you can just stay calm, that's also going to solve a lot of problems. For example, when people feel like maybe you're like awkward in the group, in my experience, when that happens, it's often because I feel awkward or I feel uneasy. And so when I'm able to really sense into that feeling inside myself, and I can kind of like feel out how to become more at ease with myself and more at ease with the situation, that's usually what solves it. So it's a complex field, social interactions, but like a lot of it really comes down to just being able to reduce your anxiety, staying calm, and sensing in your own body. That solves a lot of things, a lot of issues for me and for a lot of people. Beyond that, you can always look, of course, into maybe like behavior science or like things like strategy if you're in sales and stuff. But I would really recommend that. But like there's a lot of sides to it, and managing your own internal states, reducing your anxiety, feeling calm, feeling at ease is one of the best things you can do. And that's going to improve so much in personal life, in your sales, cold approaches, friendships, women, all of that, right? So that was the video for today. Let me know if it was helpful, if you liked it. And check out my next video if you want. See you guys soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Cheers.